And I thought maybe what we'd like at 4:00 in the afternoon of this is an actual proper game. I mean, we've had a lot, to be fair, but this is going to be good. And there is no safer pair of hands now than the pair of hands you will shortly be in, those of my fellow Bristolian and fellow Mark Olver.
Okay, well, this is good. Should we try? Should we try and do the show?
Yeah.
I tell you what, we won't get anywhere if we don't try, Mark.
Okay, so basically, really simple rules. There are 4 of you. What you're going to do, each of you is going to say a question. So, Mark Watson, yours is going to be the first question. The other 3 players then text me their answer to that question, and you, Mark Watson, have to guess whose answer belongs to whose answerer. Does that make sense?
It does actually. When you're playing it, it makes a lot of sense. But when you're explaining it, it feels a little bit difficult. So in that sense, it's like Risk, I think.
Yeah, that's what we've gone for. Laura, Mark will ask a question. You will text your answer to me. Deborah will text her answer to me. Jon Richardson will text his answer to me. I will then read them out. And the game is Mark has to guess who said
I'm on
that.
it. Woohoo!
You're on it. This is good. Mark Watson, are you armed
I have
with
a question.
a question? Okay. Would you like to please ask?
Yes, if you could be
your
invisible for a day, where would you go? But not the polite answer, the honest answer. What would you do with a day's invisibility?
Okay, so John, Deborah, and Laura, if you all text, you've got a little text thing where you can text me. If you were invisible for a day, and Mark, are you expecting 3 filthy answers, or are you expecting a range of answers?
I don't know any of the people quite well enough to be totally confident what I'm expecting. I don't think I'm expecting filth. I might be expecting sly filth from Lexx. I mean, it wouldn't amaze me if Richardson just said, I'd stay where I am, basically.
Jon Richardson's got levels of filth that you just wouldn't expect, actually. So I imagine if he was invisible, who knows what would happen?
I don't know if this is where Richardson would choose to get them out, though, these levels of filth. I mean, this is basically a sort of mid-afternoon panel show online that has struggled for traction internet-wise.
But do I have to own up to what my answer was?
Not yet. So what you do, so I'm going to read out these answers, and any moment now, when I've got the 3 answers, I'm going to make Mark Watson guess who said what. So I am waiting for one more to come through, and then I think we are very close to starting. So, Mark, who said if they were invisible for 24 hours, I would go to a supermarket and move people's trolleys into different aisles when they weren't looking? Okay. Answer number 2 is I would organise to meet all of my friends in the pub, and when I knew they were there, I'd text and cancel, then linger to hear what they said about me.
Oh.
And answer number 3, I'd like to go and find out what men really say when women aren't there, because I'm never there when I'm not there.
I mean, it's true. You are never there when you're not there, in a sense.
Okay, so what are you thinking? So we've got basically
messing about with supermarket trolleys.
Supermarket trolleys.
Eavesdropping on men when you're not there, and the business in the pub with your mates.
Absolutely. What are you thinking, Mark?
Well, the messing with supermarket trolleys has a sort of element of pettiness which one might associate with Richardson. But would he bother to do that? I feel like it's only that is plausible for Jon in a way, because I can't imagine Jon bothering to do any of the other stuff like eavesdropping on people. Even the thing about your mates down the pub. Yeah, I feel like the trolleys might be Richardson.
Okay, you go trolleys, Jon Richardson. Okay.
Yeah, and then see what your friends really say about you. I mean, Laura's sort of shtick is quite kind of neurotic and insecure. Whether that is her real personality or not, I don't think I'm misrepresenting you, Laura.
Right, you're now trying to find out if Laura's actual personality is neurotic or just a stage persona.
Well, I don't know Laura well enough to be. It's a big call to say that someone is neurotic.
It's fair. It's fair. I will.
Okay, cool.
I'm not going to argue with that assessment.
Let's stop soft soaping it. You're a maniac, Laura. So I reckon, I reckon you might go down to the pub and just learn your friends' real opinions, and which would leave Deborah's one being. The only thing is, I don't know. It's sort of feminist position is to not really give a shit what men think about you. But I still think that's just by process of elimination. I think it's John, supermarket trolleys, Laura eavesdropping on friends, Deborah eavesdropping on others, I think is how I see it.
Okay, that is not bad. So you've gone for Deborah Frances-White. You've gone, I'd like to go and find out what men really say when women aren't there, because I'm never there when I'm not there.
It seems like the sort of thing Deborah might say, but I'm going on not much evidence.
Okay. Deborah, can you give us your answer, please, to Mark's invisibility question?
Mark Watson is correct. He's not taking into account there that I'm a guilty feminist, so I'm allowed to say that kind of thing. But also, I'm not interested in what they're saying about me. I'm just interested in what you talk about, because it can't always be sport and like these micro exchanges that you seem to have when we're there. There's got to be more, and I want to know what it is.
Yeah, that's what I kind of imagined you saying. I'm pleased with that.
Yeah, very well done.
But also, I think you'd be massively disappointed. I've known Jon Richardson for 15 years, and 90% of our conversations have been about sport.
A fair bit of it is sport.
But it's sport as a sort of mass.
I know. I'm sure I would be disappointed, but I just feel there must be something more that, a bit like Bilderberg, but sort of Mailderberg.
If you read between the lines, it sort of sounds like.
I should have said Bilderberg. That would have been better. I should have gone to Bilderberg. Not Bilderberg.
To me, how do you feel about Leeds not getting promoted? I might say something like, "Oh, devastated because I hate myself and my marriage is breaking down." And if you listen carefully, it's not necessarily about the sport. There's hints in there as to what we're really saying.
Oh, I see.
It's a completely fine and natural way to behave. Yeah.
Absolutely. So you've got one point. So well done.
Thanks, Mark. It's good to get one.
And this is exciting because there are 3 points to be got in this round, and you can either get now 3 points or just the 3. And what you basically, it really comes down to who is petty with the trolleys and neurotic to find out what other people are saying about them. That's essentially what you're saying. Petty on. So you're basically saying that Laura Lexx is either petty or neurotic, and Jon Richardson is either neurotic or petty. So, Laura, are you arranging to meet people at the pub, or are you moving trolleys about?
I'm moving trolleys. I can't think of anything worse than finding out what my friends really think of me. Absolutely not. No, I'm happy with the delusion.
So if anything, I didn't credit you with enough neurosis.
Yeah, no, thank you. I'm
but that means, unfortunately, you do only get 1 point, and Jon Richardson. So, Richardson, you will invite us all to the pub and then just wait and see if we talked about you.
No, my friend.
Wow.
I mean, what's very revealing is your assumption amongst all of you that this would be a negative experience. You know, what I meant was...
Well, we've all been there when you've been discussed, so we kind of know. I can give you the top line right now if you want it. No interruption needed.
I think it's on Twitter. I think I've seen it.
So, Matt, that is 1 point out of 3. Laura, do you understand the game now?
Yeah, I'm frustrated because, you get the first one right, you think you're on for a full house, and then, but 2 are the wrong way around. It's 1 out of 3. It's a tough game.
It is a tough game.
Also,
do you know what?
I can see people in the chat room saying they got 3 out of 3, which rubs salt in the wound a bit.
Well, absolutely. Well, let's see if people can get 3 out of 3 with Laura's. Laura knows what's going on. So, Laura, can I take your question, please?
Oh, yes. Where did I put it? Oh, no, I'm not prepared. No, here it is. Okay. My question, please, was... I've lost it. Oh, no. Right. Okay. If your next birthday party was going to have a full fancy dress theme, what would it be?
Okay, so text your answers to me and only me, so Laura cannot see them. I think this is fair. I mean, it's your question, so let's make you ask it. If you were going to a birthday party, what would you choose for the fancy dress? Laura, what would you go for?
Like right now in lockdown, my life is 90% Sims. So I reckon I might have a fun time like decorating a house to look really pixelated. And you could make like a little green diamond to go over your head and be a Sim. And then you have to talk in Sim language. And that would be fun.
Well, I've never played Sims.
You should.
Can you make Sims do everything?
Yeah, my Sim currently is a stand-up comedian, and I've built them a little stand-up studio on the back of their house, and they have a brick wall and a spotlight, and he just spends all day telling jokes. And I wish I was my Sim.
I saw a screenshot of you making your Sim do stand-up, Laura, and it was kind of poignant.
I really miss stand-up.
It's nice, isn't it? Sort of doing gigs and there's people there and you feel nice.
Yeah, like it's got to the point now where my husband is singing the main song that they sing at karaoke, and I can now like, Tira ma, this row is Frenchy and a Rubadish nut, yibs, yibs. I can speak in Sim language because of how long I've been listening to it. Like I've done nothing for weeks.
Is your Sim stand-up represented by anyone? Does it have an agent?
Yeah, of course.
I have got two answers. The one person I don't have an answer from is Mark Watson.
You've got three now? That text has been dispatched over.
Himself. Okay, that has been dispatched right now. So, Laura, I've got three answers for you for full fancy dress theme. So, answer number one is, I believe that in a post-lockdown, post-vaccine world, orgies will make a big comeback, but also long-term denial means that we will get more bang for our intimacy buck, so to speak. So I want a light touch soundscape party in a consent warehouse.
I suppose my main question is how someone texted all that in the time available.
Bloody hell. All right.
They copy and pasted.
Could you simplify all of that for somebody that didn't understand a lot of it? What?
I'll slow it down for you, but also there was a word, and I'll be totally honest with you. This person will be angry at me because I skipped over the word because I didn't know A, what it meant, or B, how to pronounce it. So if I'm honest, I don't want to help you, but that pretty much rules out Richardson.
Deborah, how do you pronounce the word he's struggling with?
Okay. I believe that in a post-lockdown, post-vaccine world, orgies will make a big comeback. But also, long-term denial means that we will get more bang for our intimacy buck, so to speak. So I want a light touch, olfactory, soundscape sex party in a consent warehouse.
Olfactory means smell, if that's the one you were.
Yeah, but I tell you what, that's a fairly specific thing to put on an invitation. You're not inboxing those invitations.
All right, so we got that one. Cool.
So you've got that one. Answer number two is Roman Empire, no exceptions. Answer number three is dress up as the kind of person people think you are, exaggerate all your worst features.
Oh. All right. So... I mean, right. So here's what I'm thinking. The use of consent in the grown-up one made me immediately suspicious of Deborah because I feel like she's the person that would care most about being a nice person.
Okay. Indictment, really, of John and Mark, that they're not interested in consent.
Yeah, well, we know that Mark's just here booking his white supremacist, male-only comedy.
I'm a guy that takes any offer from a woman.
Yeah, everybody knows that he's not worried about the RSVPs to his sex party. However, it did take him a really long time to text it, and it was so overblown that has Mark played a blinder here and just used all the long words he knows to try and make himself sound like Deborah. Ooh.
And also, he knew what olfactory meant as well, straight away.
Yeah.
I wonder if those are all the long words Watson knows, but carry on.
He's written books, Annie, like a real clever man.
Your point stands. Was it Deborah or was it an imitation of Deborah? That is basically your issue.
It was so OTT, and Deborah's clever, but she's down to earth. And I mean, it was a lot, wasn't it? It was showing off, is what it was.
Hey, listen, you don't get olfactory out when you just go into the supermarket.
Look how defensive he is. Look how defensive Watson is. So I'm going to say that one was Watson. I think the Roman Empire was John, and the other one that I can't remember was Deborah.
Dress up as the kind of person.
Whole name as well with the 7 N's.
Dress up as the kind of person people think you are. Exaggerate all your worst features. You're going Richardson.
No, I think that one's Deborah.
Oh yeah, you're going Deborah for that one. Richardson for Empire. Mark Watson for olfactory sex orgy.
Yeah.
Long-term viewers are quite right to note in the chat room. This is quite a lot like 12 hours ago playing Werewolf. But it is basically all about who is being their real selves. We'll soon find out, won't we?
Okay. Well, I'll tell you who is being their real selves if their real selves was really shit at the game, and that is Laura Lexx, because you got no points out of 3 then.
Damn it! Did I overthink it?
I reckon. The one that you thought too much like Deborah was Deborah.
It was just Deborah. Curse you!
Deborah, was the answer that was too much like Deborah simply just Deborah?
It's genuinely something I've been thinking about because I'm having lots of discussions with people about how sex is going to be different. And I was thinking, like everyone was saying, like someone said, I just brushed someone's hand and it felt so like someone has already had COVID or something. She said, I've just brushed someone's hand and that felt so erotic. And I was like, oh my God, it's going to be so different because we're just going to be able to go like that and it's going to be like orgasm. So this is actually a genuine answer where I was like, oh, you could have like a room full of like aromatherapy, you can have a room full of like, aerial dances and stuff. It's a genuine thing. I know it was meant to be a comedy thing, but I'm so into the excitement of this idea actually happening. I genuinely, but I feel like Roman Empire party's the same.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. And actually, Laura, you did get all of them wrong. And Mark Watson, although you thought he was the orgy, he was actually Roman Empire. And Mark, when you picture Roman Empire, do you picture just banging?
I suppose if we cut to the chase, that is what I'm thinking about. Mark, although my parents are probably still on the stream. Basically, I found it quite a taxing question because I don't have an automatic go-to, sex era of the kind that Laura was necessarily. So basically, I thought about it for too long. Then I was conscious I was the last person. So then I very quickly wrote Romans, and I added no exceptions, so it sounded like I had a policy.
And Jon Richardson, I think straight away, yours sounds like. So, do we come to the party dressed as our worst perception of you?
No, of yourself. So you come to the party as what you think I think you are. Get it? But that was
like
Dave
the
bluffing.
opposite of your invisible pop thing.
Well, that one
was
was
everyone talking about you, and then basically they turn up as what you say about them when they're not there.
I realise with those 2 questions back to back, it looks like I'm obsessed with what people think about me and themselves. But that's not the true answer was, if I had a fancy dress, what would it be? It's a fucking disaster, and an admission that I've given on all my friends because I hate fancy dress. And I think fancy dress should mean what it says. Put on your fanciest clothes and let's all have a good time.
Which is what you're doing today.
Can
Absolutely.
I just say, please don't invite me to any of your birthday parties.
Okay.
Laura, I've known Jon since 2004, and I have never been invited to one of his birthday parties.
I've never had a birthday parties.
I was going to say, I don't think you've ever had a birthday party, have you?
Come and celebrate me. I mean, what a fucking mess. Let's just all have Christmas. Christmas is everybody's birthday party, and then that's it.
Not everyone's birthday party.
Sorry, Jon, you're abolishing birthdays?
I'm just saying, yeah. I mean, for the people around you, if they want to acknowledge it, fine. But don't have a big party.
Okay, sorry.
Okay. Well, keep it
It
light.
doesn't surprise anyone.
Laura,
That's my opinion.
Laura, unfortunately, you got no points whatsoever then.
Sorry, guys.
So in is Mark Watson with 1 point. And Deborah, your question number 3. And if you do well here, boom, you can take an unassailable lead almost.
Okay, I'm excited. I'm very excited.
Thanks, mate.
Oh, I have to ask my question.
Yeah, this is your question. Yes.
Sorry. I thought you for some. Yeah, no, it does make sense now that you said it. That I would be the one reading it out. Okay, all right. So, well, okay, I don't have to read it out. I know it. So this is my question. If we went into lockdown again, next time we'd know the signs and we'd be ready. And already I thought next time we went into lockdown, I would invite a hair and makeup artist to move in with me rent-free for the duration of the lockdown, because then that, I would be catered for throughout. I wouldn't be in the situation I'm in now. So I'm someone who could do waxing, pedicures, the whole lot. I'd pay them for their services, just to be clear, but they could stay here rent-free.
That is good of you.
What was that?
Yeah, nice.
No.
Nice to reward people, isn't it, for the waxing?
Yeah. I just want someone who can do all of that, and they don't have to pay rent, and I pay them. Which professional or tradesperson would you force to live with you during the next lockdown?
Good question.
Thank
It is
you.
an excellent question, and everyone will now text me. And so, Deborah, would it be hair and makeup?
Yeah, no, I mean, ideally, I'd want someone with the broadest possible skill. It would be great if they also did all the, like, my legs are quite hairy at the moment, and you shave them, but they come back in 2 days. And I'm a feminist, but I really like a smooth leg, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I've tried both. I enjoy a smooth leg.
Have you tried both at the same time?
What, one smooth and one hairy? What do you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. No, in fashion, everyone speaks in singulars. Like you say, a smart screen and a fun trainer. But I genuinely do believe that the first Thursday after lockdown, we will come out onto the streets to applaud the waxers, because they will be key workers. They will be working, honestly, 22 hours a day. Anyone who can wax, anyone who can give a Brazilian, they'll be doing 2 at once.
Isn't there a thing at the moment where some hairdressers have been going to people's houses, and I think I saw a picture of it, and someone puts their hair through the letterbox and they cut it through the other side?
Just cut your own hair. It's not going to be any better. Through a letterbox.
I don't think. Okay, so I've got some answers for you. So answer number 1 is a top quality chef. They get weekends off.
Oh,
A top
nice.
quality chef who gets weekends off. Answer number 2 is a professional pigeon wrangler. And answer number 3 is a handyman. It's always good to have a real man around the house, and it would be good to know anything getting broken would be fixed.
So, real man around the house, that's got to be Mark Watson, because he's got that slightly self-deprecating, I couldn't put up a shelf to save my life kind of energy about him. That sort of like, it's almost like it's trading on, a joyful low status. Both Laura and Jon have become completely pixelated for me. So it's hard to read their faces because I can't see them. So
I had that once with Jon in real life.
I had that with Jon once on a documentary about sex tourists. Okay.
I think Mark's probably the real, a tradesman, a real man. What were the others? There was a chef and
a pigeon wrangler. Yeah.
Well, pigeon wrangler's obviously got to be Jon. That's evident to everybody. I can't imagine anyone would say anything different. And I believe Laura Lexx wants a chef. I believe that. I just feel the way she said weekends off. That implies to me a thoughtfulness about their time and their space. And I feel just even just knowing Laura's character from Twitter, I feel that
shows a lack of
I'm
understanding
completely
of
certain.
food is what it does. You got a professional chef in and you give him Sunday off so you don't get a decent roast. Schoolboy.
Yeah, well, it's
Every day
obviously
is
not
Sunday
Steve.
now.
I'm right. It's not Jon
Steve
Richardson. Is
Everett.
it? I'm 100% sure I've got this right. It's Laura's the chef, Jon Richardson's the wrangler, and Mark's the tradie, the real man tradie.
100%.
Well, this is really exciting. I love your absolute confidence, and I am really glad to tell you that you are 100% wrong on all of them. You just,
No!
yeah, yeah. I know. I'm really sorry. I know. Yeah, no. We've figured this out when we've done this show a couple of times. We put it on YouTube, and when people at the beginning, they don't really take it massively seriously, and then when we get into it, they get really pissed off when they get them wrong. And you got them all wrong. Mark Watson.
All of them.
Every single one of them. Mark Watson wants a chef.
Well, my thing was, and I'm really, like, it's easy to be wise after the event, but I feel kind of proud of this. I went for chef and weekends off because I thought it sounded plausibly like something Laura would say, and you did indeed feel like, because it felt like Laura would benefit from a chef, but she's a nice person who wouldn't make them work 7 days a week. So I basically did my text as an impersonation of Laura to try and throw you off. Yeah.
Totally worked.
I can be sneaky. 12 hours ago, I was a werewolf. Did they catch me?
And the pigeon, you said John, but actually, Laura, are you having pigeon problems at the moment?
Oh, yeah. So a couple of years ago, we had pigeons that nested on our balcony, and then we had to get rid of them, and we had pigeon netting put up across the balcony to stop them getting on the balcony. But the last 2 mornings, I've woken up to find a pigeon has broken in through the net and is now stuck on the balcony. So yesterday morning, I had to wake my husband up, and he grabbed the pigeon and posted it through a hole to freedom. Then when it came back this morning, I was like, I can't wake him up another morning. So I tried to deal with it again, but then there were 2 pigeons. The second one took me by surprise, flew at me. I screamed and woke my husband up anyway, and we had to cut the net back, release the pigeons, and then put it all back together. So I'd like to not go through that.
Break it up.
Oh, by the way, Mark,
it's my only outdoor space, John. I can't lose it. It's all I've got.
Yes, Mark Watson.
Just to say, a couple of people have been saying in the the chat group, is it sort of deceptive to try and do it as if it was? And I will just say, I'd love to. If I did get locked down with a top quality chef, that'd be ideal. But so it's not as if it was a lie. I just tried to phrase it the way I felt, Lex.
I'm happy with you lying, if I'm honest.
I feel like this is you and Simon came up with this idea, and I'm not sure what the rules are about whether you're meant to mislead or not. But I feel like the spirit of the game is partly misleading.
Oh, I love a bit of misleading. I absolutely.
I mean, yeah, it's like balderdash. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I've been playing it.
Yeah, I absolutely.
I would play it better. I'd play it differently.
I love it when
strategy there is.
Oh yeah, there's so much strategy, so much line. Laura doesn't even know what a pigeon is. I mean, that is.
Don't even have a husband, guys.
That's how brilliant she is at the game. And actually, Jon Richardson, how do you feel about the fact, Richardson, that Deborah thought that Mark Watson was the least manly man? Did that make you feel kind of good about yourself?
It was interesting to see Tia go straight for Watson as the alpha male. It suggests that perhaps I'm coming across as more masculine and competent than I mean to.
I wasn't saying Mark's not an alpha. I was saying he sort of trades on a self-deprecating charm.
Counterpoint: it is safe to say Watson's not an alpha, Deborah.
But you're not a gamma.
No, but your point was, it is the sort of gag I would make, because it's true. I would be like, oh, I can't put up a shelf. But as it turns out, it was not me on this occasion. It was John.
So,
everyone.
Unfortunately, that is 0 points.
See, this is why they don't let women do comedy, because we suck at it. Deborah and Laura with 0 points. Mark, you should cancel all the rest of the women you're supposed to have on this marathon.
I have done.
Yeah, but you know what? But what I can do, and what I do in the show, I can give out bonus points willy-nilly, because like Mark said, like I didn't set the rule. There are no rules, and if I want to, I can give out bonus points. And actually, Laura, because I want to know the ongoing situation with the pigeons, I think I'm just going to give you a point, mate.
Yes! Sympathy points. This is like in Mario Kart when you get a bullet and you come up from the back to the front.
So Lex gets a point just for an entertaining pigeon anecdote, basically.
Yeah, no, I'm happy with that. I'm absolutely happy with that. Yeah. We're going in to round 4. Mark Watson is on 1. Laura Lexx is on 1. Deborah Frances-White is on 0. And Jon Richardson, I mean, look at him. I mean, this is a man who feels he's looking at everyone's faces, working out their tails. John, can you give me your question?
I think if you're Richardson, you must feel this is there for the winning. If you're Richardson, you know this is absolutely there for the taking. No one scored more than 1. Richardson's mouth is watering. It should be.
So the question is, if you had devised an online panel game format, would you feel that handing out points willy-nilly fucking undermined it and wasted it? The question is, well, I themed it around you, Mark, to pep you up. If you had to stream your life, just your everyday life, for 24 hours, visits to the toilet excluded, what's the most embarrassing thing you think people would see you do?
Oh, a good question, actually.
Thanks, bonus point, right?
Okay.
Well, that's the lack of Ulva.
But you control Ulva. This is still your feed.
I
You can give me 100 points
yeah.
if you like.
So what?
Okay.
Other than going to the toilet, what is the worst thing that people would see if you were streamed all day long?
Yeah,
Absolutely. So text away, text me.
Actually, I mean,
And this is good because Marcus actually had to think about it, and he's thinking about it now. This is quite exciting.
well, I really am, because I think that's what you find embarrassing about yourself is an exacting question, isn't it? I think, but there's an obvious answer.
What about you, John?
what we know is when Mark takes this long, the answer is Roman Empire. So,
Imagine if we just text back Roman Empire again.
Copy and paste.
Jon Richardson, what would you not want people to see?
On a sort of physical level, nose picking, and on an emotional level, tutting and passive aggressive comments to a 3-year-old daughter.
What about the crying?
No, I think everyone knows that. I think I've mentioned that enough in my work. I don't think that would be a surprise. I think they'd be disappointed if I didn't cry. I think they'd be embarrassed if they saw me putting up a shelf. Deborah would.
I'd love to see. Listen, I would pay £3 an hour to watch you put up shelves.
It's a deal. I've got popcorn else working.
It's sort of babe, Jon Richardson style babe cam. You putting up shelves in that shirt.
I'm trying to think if there's anything here that I fitted. I mean, I put the pictures up on the walls. I fitted that radiator over there, the electric radiator.
There you go.
Put a roll plug in that.
You don't need a real man in the house.
You knocked a radiator into a wall. It's time to stop.
Richardson, I have got 3 answers for you.
Great.
Answer number 1, rubbing the armpit sweat onto my fingers and then sniffing it.
Oh, Christ.
You asked for these.
That's it.
Answer number 2, body rolls and pirouettes at my daily one-on-one street dance jazz Zoom class.
Wow.
And answer number 3, desperate raids on the fridge for yogurt at 4 a.m. naked.
Oh, well, now this is fascinating. What was the first one?
See, John's got it easy here because he's had longer to work us all out through the show. Mark had it really tough going first.
Well, I don't know what hero. I just did what I did.
I thought Mark was the armpit sweat sniffing, but then the yogurt came in, and I saw on the stream earlier you talking about your need to go for a yogurt at 4 o'clock in the morning.
You just wonder whether Watson will suffer here from having been online for nearly 24 hours.
Yeah,
but also
I also know
Laura
that Lexx has been on the feed before. Yeah,
absolutely.
So did they see that, and did they have I been bluffed?
Watson's bluffing. It's an absolute game, isn't it?
This is a wonderful bit of play. And the other one is what? Jazz dance.
Jazz dance at the one-on-one Zoom class, and pirouettes.
See, it is much more interesting with the bluffing in, because frankly, I don't believe any of you do jazz dance or smell your own armpit. So I think you're all playing me for an asshole here.
Oh.
Okay, what are you thinking? I need an answer from you.
I'm going to say that Mark Watson is... Oh, I don't like it.
There's a huge pressure. Richardson can see victory in his grasp, but he can also see what it would feel like to lose from here.
I know.
I know, and also, just to let you know, I'm going to give a bonus point at the end of this round, and I know it's going to make John so angry when I give
the bonus point to the person who smells their own armpit. That's what you're going to do. I feel like whoever I accuse of being the armpit sniffer, that is a real slam. So I'm going to leave that one to last, just by way of I can then say, oh, and that's the only one left. So I don't have to accuse any of you of smelling your own armpit.
Diplomatically done.
That was really nice if you hadn't told us the working.
I don't think you're embarrassed about getting yogurt at 4 a.m, Mark. But I just, it's such good gameplay that it deserves a point. So if anyone's bluffed and put the yogurt thing, they deserve the point. So I'm going to go. Mark is yogurt. I'm going to go. Laura is Zoom flips and rolls, and Deborah, that means you're the secret armpit sniffer.
He's gone for it, and now it's in Olga's hands.
It's absolutely gone for it, and you were right to go with your gut instinct. You were right to do the research. Mark Watson is the yogurt person, so that is 1 point. So well done there. Straight away, naked in front of his fridge, eating a yogurt. Really proud of you.
Going up as fucking champions.
I'm a guy that gets out of bed and has yogurt most nights of the week, but I didn't. I remember saying it, but it didn't occur to me Richardson might have been watching that at the time. So that's a body blow.
I've been watching every minute.
That is a body blow.
I think I don't want to win this game. And I've got a camera in Deborah's house, and I've got a camera in Laura's house.
He's the new Edmonds.
Okay, so here we go. Deborah, Laura, this is the difference between 1 point and 3 points. Can you please raise your hand if you are the secret armpit sweat sniffer?
Oh. I've been there. The bridge between 1 point and 3 points, it feels like a chasm. It is a chasm. It's emotionally exhausting.
Oh, real disappointment there.
Well played, everyone.
Yeah, and I do, just to be clear, John, I do have daily street dance and jazz dance classes while in lockdown, and I'm absolutely loving it. I've got one after this. I am today doing a routine from Chorus Line, and it's brilliant. It's the one fear I have about coming out of lockdown is I won't have time for anywhere near this much dance.
The very nature of the musical Chorus Line is about a chorus line. Surely the least the least best way to do a song from Chorus Line is on your own.
I mean, well, we're in lockdown. I don't know what to tell you. There's a global pandemic. This is what we've been reduced to, doing Chorus Line alone.
You really are one singular sensation.
And I tell you what,
one singular sensation.
Deborah's right. She's addressed the elephant in the room. There is a bloody great pandemic on, whether we want to talk about it or not. I knew it would come up.
Okay, it is nearly. I think that's the end. That is the end of the show. It's nearly 5 o'clock. I'm able to give out. So at the moment,
I mean, to be fair, Olga, it's another low-scoring game, isn't it? Mm.
It really is a low scorer. Yeah. I can't remember any of the score.
You don't get a point if the person doesn't guess your answer as well. You only get the points on your round. So, like, I don't get a point when Mark doesn't guess my answer, and Laura doesn't get one if Deborah doesn't get her answer.
No, it's just.
Oh, yeah, that would be good.
Yeah, just the person.
Something to think about.
Listen, this is who said that. Who said that can be a brutal environment?
Yeah.
It really, it absolutely can be. And as we finished.
Look at those scores. We're intelligent people, and those scores are a fucking disgrace, quite honestly.
You did say you were giving out a bonus point for that last round, Olga.
Mark, you did say there was a controversial bonus point.
Oh,
sorry,
yeah.
I think this speaks to your IQ.
No, I agree, Deborah. There's an awful lot at stake here. Olga, whatever this bonus point is that you're talking about, it's going to be extremely important as the overall winner. There's no getting away from that.
Yeah, left it for Deborah.
Yeah, and I probably should just go Deborah, right? Because then it would just be lovely and 1 point for everyone.
Oh,
No one wants to see
If
that.
I showed you a dance move, could I get a bonus point if I showed you a dance move?
Oh, piss off! I sniffed my own arse.
I'm eating yogurt at 4 a.m. with my dick out. I'm not looking for.
Yeah. Oh, I'm a sexy dancer. Give me a point. Naff off, mate. Up and sniffing these honkers.
I suppose
I can set you up with my dance instructor if you want.
Could be an answer as to what's attracting the pigeons as well.
It's also an answer as to what's not attracting the husband.
I'm going to say right now, Deborah, I don't want the dancing, but thank you. I would have given you a bonus point anyway, but no. The fact of the matter is, it's his marathon.
Horrifying.
He's knackered. He's done well. I'm giving 1 point and the win to Mark Watson. I'm giving it to Mark Watson.
It's very nice, but I really appreciate that, Oliver. But if this goes all the way to telly, I don't know if the viewers will like it, draw, and then you say, "Well, this bloke's come all the way from Nottingham, so he wins." Being tired isn't normally a qualifier.
Yeah,
I'll take it. I just don't feel I deserve it.
No, that's absolutely fine. Whoever's in charge of the graphic, take Mark's bonus point away. I'm giving it to Laura Lexx.
I'd quite like it back. I'd like it back.
No, it's too late. It's too late. It's too late. Bug it. Give it to Laura Lexx.
Hey, Oliver.
It's also, Mark, almost too late for you to do a countdown on the hour.
Yeah, but it's not too late for Mark Olver to step up. Olver, we're about 20 seconds away from the hour. Can you see that?
Thanks,
I think so. Yes.
Little pink clock.
What do I do?
Okay. Basically,
What am I doing? Am I just counting?
Count down to the hour, and then we'll celebrate success.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It is.
well,
You're going to the dance move now anyway.
27 and a bit grand, not too bad. First of all, I'd like to say thanks to everyone who played. So Jon Richardson, Deborah Frances-White, Laura Lexx, and Olver. And then you didn't see the person who came up with the game. His name is Simon Gummer. But I have to say, I've played it twice now. I do think it's quite a good idea for a game. I don't think you're entirely wasting your life, Olver.
Not this hour of it, anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Not this bit.
No, you've got other decisions to make, but this bit's going all right, I think.
Yeah, thanks, mate. It's fun.
It's
well played as well. Well played. Some good stuff.
It's interesting. I've played it twice now with groups of people that I didn't really know them that well, and there is quite a bit an enjoyable element of bluff, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, it's a good old format. Well done, Simon Gummer.
It is.
Good format.
And also, it's good to have a game where it's all about texting and stuff because of this business where the world's ended.
Absolutely. And Simon works in TV, so he's unemployed as well. So if anyone wants to give Simon Gummer a job, let me know.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. And it's been, by the way, I hyped this quite a lot. At the start of the show, I said 5 p.m. would be cocktail hour, and people have interpreted that in quite a lot of different ways. I think there could be some problems now.
Which one are you going to show us, your cock or your tail?
Hang on, look at that. Who's got one?
Well, there was meant to be a question that was, what's the best thing you've got in your room? Maybe I missed that. I might have missed that when I was off.
What is that?
No, we ran out of time. That was your cocktail.
No, it's my cocktail bar. I've got a cocktail bar. Hold on.
Look at that.
Wow.
Yeah, it was made by a man who does cabaret, and so there's lots of sort of camp additions. It was a friend of mine who does cabaret built it for us.
I mean, fair play. That's a bedroom that a big podcast buys you.
It's not our bedroom. It's our TV room. It's a very small room. It's a tiny room. It's a tiny room, but it's got a bar in it because we decided, as we didn't have children. This is like a therapy session now. We didn't have children. We tried and we couldn't. And then I thought, I don't really want to keep trying. I'm not that sure I want them. Let's have a bar instead. And that bar has never once woken me up at 3 a.m. So it was a good decision in the end.
Watson.
And that's great because what Jon Richardson has done is
Richardson
because he's got a kid.
Cake and eat it. Richardson went for the baby and the bar. How's he pulled it off?
If you have kids, you need a pub in the fucking garage. That's what.
So, yeah. But most people, as Deborah said,
we've both sort of got a pub in a way. I mean, mine's not a pub. Mine is one bar. It's not a pub. I don't think we'd be overselling it. It's a big wood. It's a big piece of wood with some bottles behind it.
You have a reasonably well-stocked bar and no children. Your life is going absolutely fine.
It could be worse. That's what I'll say.
It could be, of course. Yeah. It's nice to have children. I'm grateful to have children, but I think John's in the sweet spot where he's somehow procreated and still got a bar. I don't understand how that works.
Yeah.
Somehow procreated is the title for my next.
That clause, it does sound a bit harsh, actually.
Oh dear.
Well, Oliver, this has been good. I think all of you.
Well, thank you very much for having me. It's nice. It's a thing that me and Simon did during lockdown, and it's on YouTube, and it's nice to do it live to show why we don't. So, so thank you.
Is there any aspect of you, Oliver, that thinks, you know, if the Pando really wipes us out, this could be the only panel show out there, and that's good for Oliver? Or do you not see society that way?
No, do you know what? I think I'm going to end up doing the warm up for it. I'll just do my own warm up. I live with Matt Ewins. I've got another comic in the house. He's been nominated for the main award. He can host it. I'll just do the warm up.
I think ultimately Whitehall hosts it, but you'd be a cracking one.
It would be good for Jack, wouldn't it? It would be good for Jack.
I think it'd be nice for Jack. It's you know, it's a pretty likeable format. He'd be funny and stuff like that. And you've got Oliver doing the warm up very, very well, watching the recordings, absolutely simmering, but so polite.
Yeah, no, I would definitely simmer. Well, this is good. So what happens now? Do we just sit here and are we in cocktail hour now?
No, you have to leave. You have to leave, Oliver, like everybody else. I'm afraid the time has come for you to go and do other things.
We've been to cocktail hour. You can obviously come back, but for now we're going to sort of do something else. Oh, by the way, Mark, just because one of the charities this is for is Fair Share, and it was you that told me about them, and I think you and John have both done stuff for them.
Phenomenal charity.
Yeah, for normal charity. You don't have to do all this bullshit. You can just do that.
Back a dickhead.
No, they're
sign some stuff, really.
Me and John were going to do some gigs in their warehouses because they're a food distribution charity, and they are absolutely amazing. And they distribute food to all sorts of incredible organisations. And I'm doing another thing a week tomorrow, raising money for them as well in Bristol. And they love it, and I know them all, so they're brilliant people, and they're really chuffed that you're doing it as well.
Although the more you talk about how much you and Richardson are doing, you start to wonder if Fair Share are sort of taking the piss a bit comedy-wise. I spoke to them and they were really nice. But I wanted to credit you, Mark, for pointing me in their direction, because I think that a food redistribution charity is put under enormous strain by what's happening there. Also, I've been reminded that they sent me a T-shirt to wear, and I meant to wear it during that panel show, and I would have done had my blood not got up at the side.
But Mark, what's really great for you, you're wearing a Bristol City top, and Bristol City let in Fair Share use Ashton Gate as one of their food warehouses at the moment. So so they're actually using. So Bristol City are working with Fair Share at the moment as well. So it's all
doing good. I think it's time for me to put the logo T-shirt on properly, because I imagine if I work for Fair Share, I'd love to see someone do something called Cocktail Hour with the T-shirt. There's no real shape to Cocktail Hour, but we do have a couple of things. Lex has gone. Lex has had it, and
I'm here. No, I'm good.
Oh, Lex has gone. Look, he's there. She's there.
Lex has got one hand on the Sims already. Lex is mentally back in the Sims here, and who can blame? Thank you all for doing it. This sort of nice, slightly spaced out looking man called Steve will now shut down your windows.
Bye. No, I won't. I can't. But I'll tell you to leave, and I hope that will eventually happen in the nicest possible way. If you close it, you can go.
Everyone.
Thank you so much.
Everyone.
Well done, Mark.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.